was a late night, like most end up being. Spent the day with nothing but loose ends in the bottom of a glass, and the week wasn't looking too bright. The sound of the night filled the room with a comforting emptiness, the kind that left a man with his thoughts. But that kind of space is never open for long. The silence was broken, like a fine china on hardwood floor, by a man made more of coat than bone. I gave him the once-over. What I came back with was not pretty. The man didn't look too much like the chatting type, but the thing that gave me the most pause was the barrel I was locked eye-to-eye with. Sadly, tonight had ended up like most of these bottom-of-the-glass nights do, at gunpoint.
Gunpoint is a recently released puzzle game available on Steam and gunpointgame.com. The game is centered around two core mechanics, jumping and rewiring. The protagonist, Richard Conway, freelance spy, has the ability to jump in a superhuman arc by holding down the mouse button and pointing where you want to go. At full strength, his jump can smash through windows, take out guards, and reach rooftops in a matter of seconds. Conway can also enter a hacking mode by scrolling on the mouse wheel, revealing all the circuits in the building. When you start, only the red circuit will be available to you, but as you progress through the building, you may wirejack other color circuits to gain access. The goal of Gunpoint is to rewire, and thus distract guards, knock them out, or gain access to previously locked areas and ultimately retrieve some sensitive piece of information. The game sports a 16-bit art style with a ton of detail and flair. The art is simple but very detailed and makes use of a muted blue-orange color complement. Now, I was surprised by Gunpoint, because from my initial impression of the game, it looked as though it was just a series of puzzle buildings and the goal was to retrieve the info. But what really made me fall in love with this game was the fact that there was a fully realized, engaging story. When you start the game, Conway gets involved in a murder case, and the story branches out from there. Throughout the game, you interact with many different players in the murder case, often on opposing sides, and during the between-mission conversations, you have choices to let different parties know about key pieces of information, or just leave them in the dark. I found this to be my favorite part of the game, the way the story tied all the missions together, and how it always feels like you're playing all the sides, just to get the payoff. Oh, and the actual game part is also pretty neat. The jumping feels really smooth, and it's super satisfying to bust through a plate glass window, tackle a guard, and punch his face 1 to 18,000 times. And the rewiring mode fits in really seamlessly, giving you clear indicators where the guards are and where they will soon meet their demise. This mode even has alternate versions of the soundtrack, which are more bright and jazzy. And really quickly, the music. I'm a sucker for anything with cool jazz and wailing saxophones, but this game has an exceptional soundtrack of not only good video game music, but just really good jazz. I spent the first 10 minutes of the game just listening to the opening track. So overall, I think this game really comes together with a fusion of charming and complex graphics, simple yet puzzling gameplay, and a metric boatload of sax whales. And though the guards have a questionably fast reaction time and impeccable aim, I'm convinced that Gunpoint gets a plate glass window out of 10. Also, I couldn't figure out where to fit this joke in the review, so here it is. Enjoy.